Hello, family, peace and blessings, and welcome back to another episode of Heal with Angelica Waters podcast, where we discuss all things healing. And on today's episode, I have a special guest here today, my brother Winford X, and we will be discussing his journey from prison to now finding self and finding God. Brother Winford, how are you today?
Oh man, I feel wonderful, sister. Thank you for that introduction. Before I get started, I would like to just open up
Yes.
in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. Muhammad is His messenger and exalted Christ, and I further bear witness that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the extension of the Son of Man, and I am a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, which is the highest title that I could receive in being a student and finding that. So. I'm thankful for that, definitely.
Yes. Praise be to Allah,
Praise be
brother.
to
Praise
Allah.
be to Allah. So before we dive in and get more, into your journey of healing, brother, do you mind letting the audience know just a little bit more about you, who you are, and
Yes.
what was your initial start to your healing journey from darkness to light?
Yes, ma'am. Of course. Well, my name is Brother Winford X. Um, Again, I'm a student of the Minister Farrakhan. I'm personal security of Brother Ben X. Everybody knows Brother Ben. I'm an author. I'm a motivational speaker as well. And all of this came about, these different hats came about just through my personal experiences, testimonies. Pretty much a lot of people already know my story, but for those who don't, I experienced going to a federal penitentiary for 15 years at the age of 19. So, I mean, that's when the journey began.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the journey began. Not really knowing what to expect, going into a situation like that at 19 years old, and you know, it was a journey,
Yeah.
but that's when really you say the healing. When did the healing start? The healing, I would say, it was two different processes of healing.
Mm-hmm.
For one, um, and let me say this: I'm very spiritual. I'm very I see things beyond, and I try to look at the sign of it and see the symbolism of it and try to figure out what does that mean to me. What is that meaning in my life? And the first healing was getting incarcerated because my mind was shaped in iniquity, being in the street.
Mm.
So the
Mm-hmm.
first healing is being able to stop that process. And the way that came about was me getting incarcerated. So a lot of time we look at things and we say, damn, on the surface it may look bad, but when you look at it and you go through it, God was already putting that together for you to be a mercy.
Mm.
But we don't see that in the beginning. So,
Right.
but that was the first healing, and of course the second healing was being in there and years going by. And once I came into the life-giving teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that's when it really, that's when the second healing process started. And that's the one I've been on ever since.
Wow, that's amazing. Um, you had explained that. I mean, even though it didn't to people, it may
Mhm.
not sound like healing as far as you going to jail,
Right,
prison,
right.
but that was the start of a new journey for you, getting out of that. So
Absolutely.
God had to place you in that circumstance in order to bring you close to Him.
Right,
So
exactly.
that's yeah. So
For
that
sure.
that's what I felt when you said that. Like the
Right, right.
circumstances may not have been what wanted, but that's what was needed.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
so you on point. Come on now. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I mean,
Yes.
that's exactly what it was. And it's crazy how, don't you know, listen, that's why I say that your job, what you do, your passion, your purpose is important, because just think about the many of people who have been in identical situations as mine and never really get the understanding of what and why they're going through that. You see, we have so many out here that go through it and never get an opportunity to slow down and see the signs that need to be seen. We know that only Allah can give you that, but Allah put you in positions and he put you in situations to see certain things. And I'm thankful, I just by reflecting on my situation, I'm very, very, very thankful that I had an opportunity to see a world like that was hidden. That's a hidden world. That's a hidden world that I had to learn about the Atlantic slave trade in federal penitentiary. But I learned about the Julie Holocaust. I learned about that in the 4th grade.
Right. Me too.
Right. That's a curriculum that is obligated for us to learn. We're learning about other people but ourselves. Mm-hmm. So I never knew nothing about an Atlantic slave trade until I went to prison. So really going to prison at 19 years old, I literally grew up there. I had to, all of my 20s and half of my 30s were being in an institution, being in a place where by design, it's designed for you to become worse. But just like Allah says in the Quran, Satan plans, but Allah say he's the best of planners. So we know that and we see that. Well, I know it because I experienced that in that sense. So there was nothing more powerful than those teachings that I found in that. So that was the real healing. Like that was the healing. And healing is not something that just happened one time. Healing is years. Healing is a journey within itself.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Exactly. So for sure.
Yes. So while you was incarcerated, did you discover the teachings while you were in prison, or did you discover this after?
Yeah, I discovered the teachings in prison, because when I first went to prison, I still was, of course, mine was still shaped in the streets, shaped in iniquity. So I was affiliated with a blood gang. I had Crip friends too. I came from a Crip neighborhood, but where I went to school and stuff like that, it was Bloods, and I was affiliated with a lot of them, and those were my guys. Mm-hmm. So going to prison, that's what I carried in there. I carried that affiliation with a blood gang. And just trying to find myself, not knowing myself. This journey just beginning at 19 years old. So having to go to prison at that young age, I learned as well that prison is very political. It's politics, meaning that you cannot, when you come to prison, you can't just say I roll solo or I'm by myself, or you got to choose something. Mm-hmm. And you got some people that come in that well, I don't want to be this, then people start recruiting, whatever. And I just was fortunate enough where I knew some people, and some people knew my family, and a couple of partners and stuff like that. And, I was cool with the Bloods, I was real cool with that. But at the same time, it was like coming from the streets, to prison, and we carrying over street ways. And my cellmate was a 5%er. He was a 5%er. So I think this was the first initial time that God started working and the journey started. And I didn't even know it, because my first cellmate was a 5% out of Brooklyn, New York. He was an old head, older guy. And that was the first time that I was introduced to Message to the Black Man. Even though I didn't know what it was, he made me read it. I read it 3 times, and the very first time that I read it, after I read it, I put it back on his bed, and I came back in the room, and the book was on my bed again. And he told me to read it again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I read it for a second time, and then it took me the first time I read it, it took me probably 5 days. Second time I read it, it took me like 4 days, and I put the book on his bed again, and I went out the room, and I came back, and I seen the book on my bed again. So I'm like, man, this dude playing games. So I'm trying to figure it out. And he told me to read it one more time, so I did. And after I read it, he said, I wanted you to read it 3 times so you can read it the first time for knowledge, and the second time you read it for wisdom, and the third time you read it for understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time that I was introduced to a language. I had never heard that before.
Yeah.
Just hearing like, wow, what do you mean? Read this 3 times, and as we know that trials come in 3, and when you know about supreme numbers and supreme wisdom, see, I didn't know none of that. So I'm like, wow, but it was intriguing of what he said. But keep in mind, I'm just coming from the street, so my mind is still heavily saturated in the reflection of what I was surrounded by. So that's when the journey begins. That's when you start being able to contemplate. You starting to really reflect. You got so much time. You seeing other people that are in your same situation, and you see these guys being studious. You see guys studying. You see, but you still you got your hoodlums. You still got your gangbangers. You still got all that going on. But your world slows down. Your world slow down because it's not like you're around family and friends. It's not like you being able to go places and enjoy yourself. You're literally confined. So your world shrinks down, and it's literally life and death.
Yes.
So the consciousness and the awareness of your environment, it has to increase, and the reality of God in you will increase that, because now you knowing, okay, I'm in an environment where it's life and death. So now you become more aware. And that's what happened. That's what happened. And I didn't really get on to the teachings yet, because I became a Sunni Muslim. I don't know. I don't like really putting certain titles on a Muslim, because there's only one Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
But just to give it clarity, Orthodox Islam, those who follow the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. I was a Sunni Muslim for 7 years, and I called the Adhan. I made my prayers in Arabic. I learned how to make salat. I participated in Ramadans in prison, and again, like I said, I studied the Quran. I learned how to read it, and I was doing these things and for 7 years. But I would always see brothers that was in the Nation of Islam, and certain perceptions were that the Nation of Islam were not real Muslims.
Mm.
Okay, so I really didn't even really know enough of that movement to really put my own on it. So it was kind of crazy in the beginning, but I'm always a studious person, so I always read the Quran. But when I would observe the brothers that was in the Nation of Islam, they never showed me where they were not Muslims. I couldn't find anything in the Quran. We are all human. We all have shortcomings. But I'm saying the way that they were reflecting the things that they were learning, that's what I was intrigued about. And I remember one day, me and a brother, we worked in the kitchen together, and he was in the Nation of Islam, and we always talk or whatever. And he asked me a question. He said, how do you think human beings are brought to the earth? And I said, well, Allah is the greatest. And I said, Allah, this is what I told him.
Mm-hmm.
I said, Allah scooped up all the different soils of the earth and created the human.
Mm.
And he looked at me and he said, no, sir. And I said, brother, what you mean? And he said, I said, so you saying that Allah can't do that? He said, oh, Allah can do all things. He said, but the reality of Allah is the original man produced every other people that you see. And that was intriguing to hear that.
Yeah.
So he gave me study guide number 19, which we have in our study guides in our lessons. And he told me to take this back with me in my dorm, and I did. And I read over it. And when it started breaking down the science of the human being,
Mm-hmm.
the mind and the brain is totally different.
Yes.
The brain is an organ which is finite, but the mind is infinite.
Mm.
The mind is far greater. When it started breaking down the difference between the brain and the mind, I knew that's what I was missing. I said, this is the reality, because now I'm able to understand it. I'm able to vision. I'm going into depth. And I was like, yeah, this makes more sense. And when I took it back to him the next day, he introduced me. He said, I want to take you and go look at a DVD. And I said, of course. And my first ever DVD was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, The Origin of Blackness. And when I was introduced to that lecture, to watch it on DVD, The Origin of Blackness, I started to cry when I started watching it, because everything that he said, I literally felt it.
Mm.
And it was like a release. And it was an intelligence in myself saying, this is what you've been looking for. This is it.
Yes.
And I started crying, and the brothers that was in there, that was a part of the nation, they just gave me some tissue, and it was like, welcome home. And from that point on, I went back to the imam of the Sunni community that I was a part of, and I told him, I said, I'm going to study with the nation. I said, man, I'm going to study with the nation. I said, because that's the reality of God to me. That makes way more sense.
Exactly.
Than just leaving my mind in limbo as Allah just being a spirit. I said, no, I can't see a spirit. I can't get the understanding when there's a gap that those teachings that I started hearing from the minister, and then it made me go back to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And then when I went back there, it was, I was on that road, and I've been on that same road ever since.
Wow.
So just to answer that, yes, I found teachings when I was in the midst of darkness. Yes, I did. I found the light of those teachings while I was in prison.
Mm. Wow. That's amazing. I love that. So from what you stated, you did like I want to say 15 years.
Yep.
To the average person, that's a long time.
So, hey, to me it was a long time. Yeah. Hey, to me it was a long time, man.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, speaking about that, that's crazy that you say that, but while you doing it, it's mad long. It's long. But I can remember, I'll never forget the day that I got out.
Mm.
And that's true. I laugh because even though I can remember certain times in prison, but the 2 days you never forget is the day you go in and the day you go out. That's like for real.
Yeah.
It's a bliss. I don't think when I came home, don't get me wrong, I came home, I had never tried Ciroc. I had never tried. Um, I wanted some Ciroc. I wanted some uh, Patron. I did that. I hadn't heard about no Kush. I did that. So I need me smoke some Kush. I did those things, and the reason why I love to share this with people is because I don't want you to think just because you see a bow tie and a suit that this is going to that alone, that image is going to save you, because it's not.
Yeah.
No,
Mm-hmm.
you know that's an adornment to be able to dress up and look nice. You know, that's an adornment, but the reward, the real um, fight is behind that,
Mm-hmm.
behind the bow tie and the suit, on how you see the sisters covered up. You know, and I like to tell people that even though I was serving on the teachings and feeding on the teachings when I was in prison, when I came home, the reality of it is I'm still a human being.
Yeah.
So things are still there, urges are still there, you know. Um, and those things, and some people look at that in themselves and say, well, I'm not worthy, but you are, though. You are worthy. You see
Yeah.
yourself stumbling, you see yourself doing things you know you're not supposed to do. Does that mean that God love you any less? No, he's not pleased, but God is very merciful.
Yes, he
And
is.
God understands the condition that we were put in. So he gives us the opportunity and time to correct ourselves even when we fall. So I like to say that part because I don't want people, like, you know, some people be afraid to speak to people that when they see brothers, they see the fruit. Oh man, I ain't ready, man, or I'm still doing this and that. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of our people are afraid because they're feeling like, I don't want to do that until I'm all the way ready. And I always tell people all the time, what does that mean? Like,
Exactly.
what do you mean
Exactly.
when you're all the way ready? Like, what does that mean? You know, and I tell them, you know, it's a that's a misunderstanding of how life has shaped us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's why it's important. And as long as we see what we out here and what we have to do out here, it's like, man, you know how the minister Farrakhan said that the work is never done. He said it's never done. So we shouldn't have in our mind, oh, when the work is done or when it's over, it's not, I mean, you just passing through. You just
Exactly.
you just passing through. So whatever you're getting downloaded with, you got, I mean, in your experiences, however it can better other people, I think that's the feeling that that we're looking for, you know,
Exactly.
with myself.
And you just brought up how um in a way, and again that is because the way we've been shaped,
Right,
um we find a way to make an excuse to to better ourselves
right.
in a way,
Facts.
or things that we know we need to do but don't do it.
Right,
So I know that it can be an example just with, let me say, someone, you know, wanting to stop smoking or stop drinking.
right,
Like, you know that this is something that you need to do,
right,
you know, for yourself
right,
and what is right, but you want to hold off on doing it because of the excuse that you're making in your mind.
right,
Like, not saying that, you know, I mean, we really don't have a lot of time.
right. For sure.
So we shouldn't make excuses when it comes to things that we know that needs to be done. Just like you said,
Okay.
the work is never done.
Right,
So we have to continue and continue to put in that work. And within us putting in that work, um, we have to, I would say, sacrifice some of the things that we are doing so we
right.
can be better.
You know what? On that note, I get people that ask me that. I get brothers that ask me, some that I grew up with,
Mm-hmm.
and some just random brothers that are DM me and be like, hey, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Which I'm not, I'm not looking at it from a higher position myself, because again, we're all having those vices, whatever your vices may be. So when brothers are hitting me up or DMing me and saying, man, I want to change, I want to do this, I want to do that. Well, one thing that I let them know is, well, if it, because they can be sincere, have great
Mm-hmm.
intentions on doing that. That's why it's so important, with the brotherhood. And when you give brothers, okay, what city you in, brother? I'm in so and so, so and so. Okay, boom, this is a mosque. This is a study group. Get to those brothers. And a lot of times, again, we see certain stuff, and like you said, we see things we need to do, but we're afraid to change. We're afraid that, damn, if I start doing this, it's gonna take me away from this.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still struggling and we're still holding on. But it's fear. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that it is not uh, the white man that keeps us in control. He said it's the fear of the white man that keeps us in control. He said, because
Mm-hmm.
he said the white man is just, he's there. He said, but a lot of time we can't get what we need to get accomplished because of the fear that we have. We fear to get off the job. We fear to, man, do something for ourselves, or strive and struggle to say, okay, look, I want to create my own platform. I want to create my own entity. I want to do this and that. Well, it's going to be, struggle. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be days, you go with no bread. It's going to be days where you got to eat minimum. It's going to be, it's going to be times where you're going to need other people to help you.
Yes.
You feel me? So all of this is like, we're afraid of that. We're afraid of that. But man, that's why I say the minister, sister, he's a fresh of he's like a fresh of well water.
Yes.
You hear his words of wisdom and you drink his words, no matter what condition your life is in. You may be doing good, having some highs and lows, which we all have.
Yeah.
But being able to have him in a recycle in your life, if you in the house and you just play him and you cleaning up and you got him in the background going, tapping into that subconscious, tapping into your conscious. Man, listen, I advise brothers all the time, man, look, Farrakhan, man, brothers, they see me, they say, man, we remember back in the day, man, you changed, brother, woo, woo. And I like to hold those testimonies and those posts, and I see that, and I go over them sometime, and I say, and they seeing it, and I'm telling them, bro, you can do the same.
Exactly.
You can do the same exact thing, brother. Like, and to see that, and to see my brothers turn away from a teaching keeps me on my feet to say, we gotta go harder.
Yes.
You feel me? We gotta go harder. I gotta continue to use the things that I've been through. And that's why Brother Bean is always saying, content, get your content so the people can see the struggle. Let them see you going to different places. Let them see the processes of certain things, because in order to do anything of success, pain is gonna be there.
Mm-hmm. Struggle is
Yes,
ordained.
the struggle is exactly, the struggle is ordained. So, sister, it's been some challenging times. I have two sons. I left my son. I left when I got locked up. I was 19 years old, and the mother of my child was 7 months pregnant. So can you imagine? 19 years old, I go to prison. My son's mother, she's young. You know, she's young. She's 7 months pregnant, and she have him, and I'm in prison.
Yeah.
So the streets, that's why the minister says we have to be very careful of what environment we set ourselves in, because that environment produces heredity. And no matter what power or no matter what strength you have in you of good, he said that environment can trump your good and turn you into itself. And when you think about that, that is so true, because that's exactly what happened. And like I said, I did 15 years, and I can count on both hands how many times my son came to see me during those times, the whole time that I was in prison. And having to grow up without a father, I could see that was a big effect that affected him.
Yeah.
It affected me. It affected others. That's why it's so important. That's why the minister is always saying Black love and the family is so important, because families is what build the nation.
Yes.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So, man, we come from some broken places, all of us. That's why the Honorable Minister Farrakhan say that we're never supposed to laugh at another person's condition, because we were all taught by the same slave master. And I love that. That's fire. That's fire, because and see, that's what I'm saying. Being able to say that we didn't grow up hearing that. I know, at least I didn't. I didn't get the opportunity to hear what I just said.
Yeah, me neither.
You feel me? I never heard, when I was growing up, I never heard, if they don't treat you right, what make you think they're gonna teach you right? I never heard that. Then I just think about it, I say, what if I could have been drinking on that when I was young?
Yeah.
Yeah, because here it is, I'm 41 years old now, and a lot of things being in prison, I missed out on. And coming home at 34 years old, I did a lot of reading, but I still was immature in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Because of that gap, from 19 to 34.
Yes.
I get out at 34. Most people 34 years old, they've been out there, haven't been in prison, established, they got houses, they got homes, they got careers, they doing this, and I'm coming from that at 19, and it's like, I'm back, they see me, but behind it is, I'm still 21, 20.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah, it was like I want to say like an adjustment, like
right. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to say mental adjustment, but mental.
Oh no, that's it. But it's that too. It's a mental adjustment. I remember getting, going into the warehouses, getting a job. I'm 34 years old, and at this time I still had long dreads. I had come home, my dreads were really, really long, and I'm in the warehouses with like 18, 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
But I'm 34 years old, so I'm just trying to get a job. I'm trying to get, where I can start taking care of myself.
Yes, right.
And I'm seeing these 19, 20-year-olds, and I'm just like, wow, time has really flew. And I'm like, wow, I'm out. I had an opportunity to go back to the street. I had partners that was still. I got partners right now that still doing their thing, but I don't deal with them. We respect each other, but
Yeah.
we never meet up. We never do those things, and it's not for me to say that I'm more than them and nothing like that, because I respect all of my brothers. But I'm just knowing, like, that's if I need to pull you this way, I need to pull you and share with you, um so you can really find that peace, really
Yeah.
find that peace, man. Because money, I mean, money is good. Of course, we all need it. But man, the minister is a beautiful man. He's sister. He lets us know. He give us wisdom for every little situation in our life. There's
He
an
does.
answer
He does. He
to it.
does.
You feel
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
So um, I'm just so happy. I'm so elated that I was chose to be coming out of my situation in prison, and I found the teachings in that situation. Man, that's beautiful to me,
I love it. I
man.
love it. So, what kept you with you doing so much time? I mean,
Hmm.
what kept you grounded? Like while you was in prison? Like what
Man,
I know
we
you
did
probably had your days, but like I mean,
well.
I'm a
Yeah,
woman, and I
yeah,
pray I don't ever go to jail. I never been in jail. I know a lot of men have been in jail. My father is actually in jail,
right. Wow.
and I just and
Mhm.
to be honest, like I don't know if that was what you had explained when you sent me your information, but like he's a repeat. Do
Repeat
I want to say
offender.
repeat offender?
Hmm.
Like just he's been in and out of jail ever since I was 2. You know,
Yes.
so I just wanted to know just from you, like what kept you grounded while you were in prison?
Um, man, you know what? I will say, um, even when I was unconscious, Allah was still. Now that I can look back, I think that Allah was holding me up the whole time. Even in my stupidity, even in my facing adversity, even in reintroducing myself over and over and over as the years went by,
Mm-hmm.
being in prison. But uh, my father, family, I can say my father always came to visit. My pops always came to visit me. And I think that was a part of course, he did my time with me. See, a lot of people don't be knowing that loved ones that are out here, they do time too.
Yes.
They do time too. And a lot of times we don't look at that. But
Mm-hmm.
by me, the one that was doing time, yeah, I can say that because I seen how it affected my pops when I went to prison, and just through the years of just us staying together and building, uh, as we continue to just go through the years. Um, but staying grounded, I mean, man, I made wine in this was early on. I made wine, man. I did. You know, um, I affiliated with the blood gang, and you just be with your partners. You
Yeah.
have partners or whatever, and y'all kick back, y'all chill. You got gambling. You got hustling with food. You either taking food from the kitchen, you hustling, just and working out.
Yeah.
Working out. We had different. They had basketball leagues. They had football leagues. They had so many things that that you had access that you could do, but there is a darker side of prison, um, dealing with you know um, things of homosexuality. You have that. You have a lot of that going on. And to me, it's like the institutions, they like promote it. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, yeah, it's like a promotion, you
Yeah.
know, and it's really a issue. It's really it's and that's why the 80 returning to prison, it's an 87 recidivism rate.
Okay.
And
Right. That's what the word was. Okay.
yeah, it's an 87 recidivism rate
Mm-hmm.
of going, to prison and coming back within 3 years. And that's why it's so important to let our brothers know that do come home, not to be caught up, going back, but literally coming home to things to do, things
Yes. Being productive.
right, staying productive, things, and that's one of the things that I love about Brother Ben X's digital real estate,
Mm-hmm.
is that we're striving to connect that with a lot of our brothers coming home from prison. It'd be really good if we could get a line of a class where they could be taking classes with the digital real estate while they're in there,
Yeah.
literally get out. So,
Yeah.
but it's so much that we still having ideas of certain things, but yeah, that's why it's important, and I think that's why the teachings are important,
Yes.
more than anything, because we can come home and not be in the teachings, and by the time you know it, you back in prison, you made a mistake. Oh, I seen this money and I just did this and that. And I'm gonna be honest, like for me, just knowing that I was sitting in that situation, but I had Muslims, I had brothers, I had good friends that I knew. People though, I really never really had no problem with nobody.
Yeah.
I had some scuffles here and there, misunderstandings and stuff like that. But I mean, then you got dudes that's gonna be jealous. You got dudes that we got on the same, we were the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Person you might go to visit a little more than somebody else. It's just with our people, man. It's just, you see so much self-hatred
Yes.
with our people. But I'm a witness. I bear witness to this. Is what I used to get, the Final Call newspaper. This is what grounded me a lot of times. We used to get these every week,
Mm-hmm.
and I made a 3-year subscription. And when the subscription would run out, I'd get another 3-year subscription. But being able to get these, it soothed me. Being able to continue to learn, sit down with other brothers and learn and just striving to stay productive and positive. It's all praise due to Allah.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I smoke weed, and I did. I drank, smoke weed, so getting tattoos. I was a part. I was a part of that.
Yeah.
That was a part of my life. And the thing about it is, I just thank Allah. I thank Allah for allowing me to stay committed. Even when I came home, the teachings were in me, but like I said, I still had urges. I still wanted to drink. I still wanted to smoke. I still, I never went to the clubs and, did stuff like that. I never, that really was my thing. But like lounges and sports bars and stuff like that, that's what I used to like to go to. And I could get high and I could drink and I could go home at the end of the night and I can go listen to the minister. And a lot of people say, oh man, that's hypocrisy. No, it's not. Because you can't tell me, I'm not saying, I'm not promoting nobody to drink. I'm not promoting nobody to smoke.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I'm doing. But I'm giving you the reality of what God was showing me through the whole time. He was still allowing me to be conscious of his man.
He was still he still had you. He still
Right.
had a hold on you.
Exactly. And
No
that's
matter
why
what was going on. And I think that's what
facts.
anybody, honestly, like, as long as you stay in his word and, continue to strive, no matter what
Pulling at it, right?
circumstances you're in, he'll always continue to keep you close to him. So I
Right,
like
for
that.
sure.
I like that.
No doubt.
So I know we're gonna have to end this a little shortly, but I do have one more question. Well, I actually want to talk about your book, Determined to
Oh,
Change.
yes,
We
indeed.
need
I'm
to talk
glad you
about
brought
this
it up.
book. Yes.
Yes.
So I just wanted to know, like, what inspired that title, Determined to Change?
Ooh. Yes, ma'am. Rest in peace, Miss Cunny. I lost my publisher. She was our editor. She's the
Mm,
one who helped me with the book. Um, may Allah be pleased with her.
yeah.
She told me one day, right? She said when we was working on the book, at first we were just working on the ebook. It was just
Hmm.
supposed to be an ebook, and you know, because she transcribed it. I had a video. It comes from a video that me and Brother Ben X did. My first video with him in 2017, and I had been out 2 years, and that's when I kind of ran into Brother Ben and we met and stuff like that. And my first interview was actually this book. This is what this book
Wow.
is. But just to speed it back up, when I was looking for a title, she asked me. She said, "What are you gonna name it?" And I said, "Well, let me sleep on it. I'll pray about it." And she's like, "Yeah, just." And I remember when I used to be in prison, I used to have visions of the minister. And I used to just say, man, I hope I'll be able to get out in time to be able to see him, like go to Savior's Day or go to an event where he's actually there, where I'm able to see him. And I used to always have a vision of seeing that when I was in prison. Well, Allah, all praise due to Allah.
Yes.
Allah allowed that to come to fruition. I've been to Savior's Day ever since when I became registered in 2018. I've been to every Savior's Day ever since. You know, and my first time seeing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in person, I didn't get to, I wasn't introduced to him, but I'm saying I was there and I was like on the fourth row when he came out. Was the Family Summit was in Atlanta in 2017, and man, I cried because it was like Allah just letting me know, like, man, so that vision that I had, it made me say, man, change is not easy, but you got to be determined and you got to keep striving to change. And you got to be, I mean, you can't just you can't just say, I want to change, because there's so many impediments and so many vices out here that you got to turn it up to be determined. You know what I mean? You just can't say I want to change. No, you got to be determined to change. So
Determined. Mm-hmm.
when I came back and told her, I said, determined to change. I said, because it's an ongoing process. And she looked and she said, that's it. And that's what we named it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I
Indeed.
can't wait to get a copy
Indeed.
of it. I'm very interested. And like I told you before we got on here, like the description that you had on there as far
Right.
as from darkness to
Right.
light.
Right.
And I
Right.
didn't even know that, and that's what
Right.
just your story from what I know, it just enticed me to make the title From Darkness to Light because of your journey.
Right.
So
Hey, I'm thankful, sister. And it's crazy that you said that, because in the theology of time, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is giving us the supreme wisdom of the universe and how Allah created himself. And when you hear that, that language, and you think about life situations from that creation, everything coming from darkness, that means that every problem that we have comes from darkness.
yes,
But
exactly.
but it says in the darkness was light. The light was in the darkness. I mean, that's in any situation. So when I look at my situation, I'm like, man, it was, it's dark, and sometimes it's still dark. Like right now,
Mm-hmm.
like it doesn't, it doesn't, it doesn't. No, this thing carry on.
Yeah,
You just have a blueprint now on how to sustain, but it still carries on though, you know.
exactly.
And the darkness is always there, you know. So just knowing that creation on how Allah created Himself is uh, like a small micro reminder for ourselves in any situation that we come in.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. I love it. I love it, brother.
yeah,
So I just want to thank you, brother
yes,
Winford X,
indeed.
for being a part
Likewise,
of my podcast and sharing your healing journey. I am so grateful to have had you on here. It's been a pleasure.
praise be. Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes.
I would also like to thank my audience for joining us today. And if you are ready to be a part of this healing journey, please share and subscribe to my podcast and my YouTube channel, Supremely Divine. I will also leave show notes to where you can follow my guest and to order his book, Determined to Change.
Yes, indeed.
So, Brother Wimper, is there anything you would like to mention to end out our show today?
Yes, ma'am. First, I would just like to say that I really appreciate your professionalism. I really appreciate your courtesy of reaching out and following me, you know, and listening and striving to be a student of the life-giving teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, guided and taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Just to know that you're conscious of that, see the importance of healing. Um, Man, that's another sister, that's another soldier that we need in the world. You know, God is building a new kingdom, and it doesn't have anything to do with color or none of these
Mm-hmm.
things. It's a righteous mindset, you know, that we're striving to get to. But we know that Master Father Muhammad said to accept your own and be yourself. Accept your
Yeah,
own and be yourself. So we never knew what ourselves looked like until we're able to see it and striving to be civilized. And what you're doing, sister, with this healing process, with your podcast, I pray to Allah that He continue to give you success in being able to do that. And for everybody that is watching this, you can follow me on Knowledge 5845 on Instagram. You can follow me on Facebook as Winford Perry, Determined to Change. I have a page, Determined to Change, on that. And also, I have a YouTube page that's called Winford X, so you can subscribe to Winford X on YouTube. Lately, man, YouTube been giving me some problems though. I mean, I went live. You know, the page is fairly new, and I went
Mm-hmm.
live the first time, and you know, it was a good live. And after that, I tried to go live second and third time. They just disconnect me, and my Wi-Fi is good, so you know, they took Brother Ben X page,
Yeah.
they terminated
Mm-hmm.
his page. This is the second time they've done that, but yeah, we're working, man. We're working. Again, this is my book, Determined to Change. It's been out already about a year. I have another book that's ready. That's in a process of being proofread and edited. So I have a lot more coming. I have a lot of more things coming. Being a motivational speaker, I'm fairly new into that. I've already been to a school to go and speak. You know, so getting off into the detention centers and striving to get back into the prisons to let the brothers know the importance of these teachings. You know, we can't be afraid to, uh, you know, try to sugarcoat. No, we need to let people know about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the things that he teach, because we want our children to know this. We want our children to be able to have a choice to pick, you know,
Exactly.
education. You know, we don't, if we say we don't want that education because we don't see ourselves in it, you know, we want to understand how the black man is God. That's what we want.
Exactly.
You know, we want to
Yes.
understand how the black woman is God. You see, that's the language we want to be shaped in. So as long as we know that, and that's what I strive to help to do on all of my platforms, is to express from my own personal experiences and testimonies that I've been through, and share that, and strive to get other people and encourage them to share their testimonies and share the things that they've been through in themselves, express the God in you so other
Yes.
people can receive that. Because it's people that are waiting on Angelica Waters. It's people waiting on you. It's people waiting on Brother Winford X. It's people waiting on Brother Ben X. And we have to be responsible to free them. So as long as we keep that mindset, that's what I'm about. So I'm always liking, and this too. I'm always liking the study guide, the self-improvement. Y'all already know I go live with this, and I share this, and I invite white people, I invite Christians, Muslims. I don't care what you are. If you're a human being, come on in. You're welcome to come in, because these study guides are so important, and they're coming from a man who has never lied. He's never told a lie. He's never put us in a situation where he has to come back and recant his statement. Everything is for the love of our people. It's for us and for humanity. So
Exactly.
This is why I love helping him, because I honestly see the importance of what he's telling us to do, and we're just a part of it. Me and you both. We're just a part of helping him and helping our people, so, and helping ourselves. So that's all, sister.
Well, praise be to Allah, brother. Again, I am so glad to have had you on my podcast today.
Thank you.
Your healing journey is just so amazing. I hope that this was inspirational to those out here in need of healing. Um, so, yeah, thank you again. And thank you, audience, for joining me. You
Yes,
guys have
ma'am.
an amazing day.
You too. Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
All right.